Hello everyone, my name is Sniping is Fun, and I welcome you all back to the first of the two extra additional videos I want to throw onto my Smash Newcomer series of videos. I already did the 150 characters, all 150 newcomers I've started since, when did I start? April 12th of 2018, so it's been over a year, about a year and almost 2 months since I started, and when I finished sometime like late last month. It's pretty much when I finished it. So within a little over a year, by the end of April of this year, 2019, I finally talked about and did a separate video on 150 newcomer ideas for the Smash Brothers series. Now, I said that's it. That's done. I'm not going to talk about any more characters, at least separate video-wise. At least for the speculation during the Smash Brothers Ultimate Smash Brothers 5, days. I'm done speculating newcomer ideas except for that secondary video, which will be the one I do probably in a couple weeks, which will basically be me throwing in a couple additional characters that weren't on my list. Maybe I pull them out of my list. Maybe I consider them for my list. Maybe I'm thinking about them afterwards after I picked 150. I'm like, crap, I didn't do a video on these characters. I'm going to do one final video. It's going to be after this one. You can expect it within about a month or so, where I'll just talk about quickly in one singular video, just various ideas, like not even planning it out, not even, doing research or anything, just getting a list of characters and being like, okay, this character, this would be a good idea for moveset, this maybe percentage. That's coming next time. That'll be the official end of this Smash Newcomer series. This video is going to be the other one I planned on giving for you guys, my retrospective and my thoughts on this series over this last year while I was doing this, just to kind of give you my thought process behind the scenes, because you basically, every time you saw me in those videos, you basically saw me project what I did research on. You just saw the end product. You didn't really get the whole story of me doing this thing behind the scenes and whatnot, even though I mentioned a few things here and there. I never really fully gave you like insight on that stuff. I originally didn't know what number I was going to go towards, and I said I was going to go 150 and 100. I never gave you a full retrospective. But this video right here will be a small little retrospective of my thoughts during that series. Maybe certain characters I enjoyed doing research on, like what my thoughts were on, the pros and the cons of it, what I enjoyed about it, what I didn't enjoy about it, so on and so forth. So with that being said, let's get this started on my Smash Newcomer series retrospective. Basically, looking at this list, I did 150 characters. I said I started back April 12th, and my first character was Shovel Knight. And I've talked about numerous characters since then: Paper Mario, Rex and Pyra, Bomberman, Ridley, Crash Bandicoot, Decidueye, Captain Toad, Waluigi, Alma, Silux, Celica, Rayman, Takamaru, Travis Touchdown, Mike Jones, Muddy Mole, Prince Sable, or Sable, actually, Funky Kong, Issa Joe, Professor Layton, Mona, the Octoline, Starman, Lynn, Isabelle, before she was announced, Ryu Hayabusa, Rock Howard, Simon Belmont, Neku from World Ends With You, Isaac and Matthew from Golden Sun, Leon Scott Kennedy, Soma Cruz, I know I said Cruz during his video, Ado Gar, from Rhythm Heaven, the wrestler and the reporter lady, Terry Bogard, Fighter Hayabusa, Generation 8 Pokemon, Lloyd Irving, Phoenix Wright, Impa, the Doom guy, Doomslayer, Sub-Zero, Yarn Yoshi, Chun-Li, the hero from Dragon Quest XI, as well as Eardrick as well, the Elite Beat Agents, Axel from Streets of Rage, Yuri Lowell from Tales, Sakura from Sakura Wars, Billy and Jimmy Lee, Jill Valentine, BJ Blazkowicz, Jin Kazama, Mitsurugi, Scorpion, Ninten, the dudes from Contra, Bub and Bobble, Black Shadow, who else did I do a video on? Heihachi, Raiden, the dude from that one RPG, that Nintendo RPG on their phone, Nightmare, Banjo-Kazooie, Dante, Johnny Cage, Fortnite character, Steve from Minecraft, Hell from Fire Emblem Heroes, Spiral Dragon, Fjorm, Gino, the hero from Gloria Heracles, Linkle, Ezio, Ricky Winterborn, generation, like a Pokemon trainer from the new generation. That's just a rough estimate of all the characters I talked about. Since April 12th, I talked about 150 characters. Now, when I went into this, okay, if you, first and foremost, if you watch my channel for the last, since Smash Bros. 4 was out, you would probably understand that I am a huge fan of Smash Brothers, fighting games in general, but Smash Brothers was huge because I love Nintendo and their franchise, and seeing them all collab with each other was a huge thing for me, especially back in the day. I was one of those fans that easily loved the idea when it came back on N64. When it came out on N64 in 1999, I was 9 years old, very impressionable with seeing that franchise growing up with that game. And then Melee came out, and I was extremely hooked on it because I didn't have a GameCube at the time. My friend had it. I always went to his house, played with him and his brothers. Addicted. Brawl came out, we did the same thing, but I had a Wii well before that game came out, and I did it both here and there. Ultimate, Smash Bros. 4 on Wii U and 3DS. Ultimate, huge fan of the series, love it. But I've been only majorly speculating on the series, how people speculate, do their speculations and predictions and whatnot, really since Smash Bros. 4. I did do a video or two back in the day, like on Brawl, when Brawl was coming out. If you look at my very, very old videos back like in 2007, 8, I probably did a video or two like, okay, this is my roster, and I was stupid and included like characters that really weren't even Nintendo, and this was before they really started pushing third-party characters and characters I grew up with, and a lot like Captain Roy and all that stuff. And my roster was like the cliche, Skull Kid, Lynn, Roy, and like it was a cliche one, like Waluigi and whatnot. A lot of characters that I've kind of, my perspective versus the multitude of Smash fans, like certain go this way, certain go this way. I kind of divide it up, and I see some of this and I see some of that. It's like like that was a very cliche, and I was mostly following like what a lot of the popular choices were when it came to Smash Bros. 4 speculation a couple of years ago. I think a little bit more I did more non-character stuff back then. I didn't do anything really with Smash Bros. Ultimate things about predicting like stages really, or items or bosses or whatever the heck else. I did maybe small little videos here and there, but most of my stuff back then, I did like topics I talked about. So this, like, why do people want this certain character? Why do stuff like this? I talked about item ideas, boss ideas. I talked about story mode ideas type stuff, or single player mode stuff, stages on top of characters. I did more, I think, back then. If you could looked at my channel back around like 2012, 13, 14, I did more varied Smash predictions, Smash speculation than I did with this one. This one I mostly kept to talking about newcomer ideas, with little things on the side, little videos outside of my 150 newcomer ideas. So there's that. But if you watch my channel back then, you've seen me talk about like looking back on this past Smash Bros. And then looking forward, and then talk about characters and stages and items and whatnot, which I really didn't do this time. But yeah, there was that. But yeah, this series right here, when it came to Smash Bros., I would like the time difference between Smash Bros. 4 and Smash Bros. 5/Ultimate was a lot less too. So I wasn't really prepared for full-on speculation again. I went all out for about 2.5 to 3 years when it came to Smash Bros. 4. I went all out on predictions, all out on speculation. My channel was almost dedicated at that time to Smash Bros. Besides obviously other stuff, but like during the days, the build up to Smash Bros. 4, coming on Wii U and 3DS, my channel was mostly dedicated. So I put a lot more effort into that because I thought the time difference where Ultimate would have been a little bit longer. So I wasn't really fully prepared for Smash speculation this time. But I wanted to talk about it because I love Smash Bros. And I love speculating, predicting on it, and like I just didn't. I don't think I was fully prepared to go all out. So when maybe in the future when Smash Bros. 6 comes out, maybe I'll do more speculation in line with that. This time I did a little bit more. I put more dedication into a full year of talking about characters though, but that one was maybe more varied over a longer period of time too, and I still did other videos. But when the next Smash Bros. Ever comes out, I'm sure we're gonna be waiting a little bit longer because the Switch is supposed to be out for a little while. Like Nintendo says that the Switch is going to be out for like a decent length of time. We're only about 2 years in. Probably about maybe at least 4 more years on that, 5 maybe. So we won't be getting the next Nintendo system for a while. So thus we won't be getting the next Smash Brothers for a while. But yeah, I wasn't fully prepared to let you guys know. I wasn't fully prepared to speculate again. So maybe that's why I didn't fully want to go all out on this stuff. So I wanted to specify on one thing this time. And pretty much when most people speculate on Smash Brothers and predict and do prediction speculation and stuff like that, 9 times out of 10 they're predicting and speculating, characters, not the stages or the items or the extra stuff. They're talking about characters, their movesets, their chances, why they deserve to get in. And that's why I'm like, okay, maybe I'll do this. Okay, I'm gonna do a video like this. This is what my series was, and I don't know exactly how the idea came to my brain, but I was thinking, okay, maybe I should just do a series where I talk about a character idea individually, make a big giant playlist, and just talk about a character each time. And I was thinking about, okay, what kind of categories, what kind of things could I do to talk about these characters? Okay, why they make sense to get in? Okay, moveset ideas, which in the past, I never actually went super in-depth on movesets. And even for this series here, with 150 characters, I didn't go and do super in-depth movesets. I mostly just talked about, okay, what would be included as potential smash attacks, what would be included as special attacks, and then go for what I would do for their final smash, which was more in-depth than anything. The smash attacks, I picked different items. Okay, pick 4 or 5 things from this list and this list for specials. But that still was more in-depth than I ever did for the characters back then, because I did do newcomer ideas in Smash Bros. 4, and I did like a series just like this but that was before I had me on the camera. I was doing like a picture and I was recording off my computer and whatnot, and doing like a picture slideshow kind of thing with that. I didn't even do full research for that. I mean, for a few characters I did, but mostly just said, okay, they could probably do this, they could probably do that, and just a little quick snippet of this is how they would fight. I went into more detail because I'm like, I should actually go into more detail and talk about how their movesets would work, or what kind of concept would happen to their movesets, what kind of special abilities would they have. Because now we know that Smash Bros. Characters like Robin and Villager and whatnot have special abilities, special meters by their name, special being able to grab items and take them and stuff like that. I was thinking, okay, what characters could have that kind of concept? I'm like, maybe I should go a little more out this time. And then I'm like, okay, well, those 2 categories make sense. What else should I do? I should do at least 3. And I'm like, okay, a percentage chance they can get to get in, which some percentages were a little higher and lower than I probably should have gave them. But there were certain characters at the time I thought were almost guarantees. I literally thought before, to be honest, before when this series first, when Smash Brothers was announced back, earlier, last year, and they did like the whole Inkling scene. I think Inkling was already like a character most people would have assumed was going to get into the next Smash Bros. They weren't able to get into Smash Bros. 4. It was going to happen in Smash Bros. Ultimate, but a lot of people speculate on Smash Bros. 4 probably them being one of the DLC characters. But yeah, you know what? But there was a lot of characters when it came to speculating for this that I almost just kind of assumed in the back of my head, and a lot of Smash Bros. Fans did too, that they were almost shoo-ins, like Rex and Pyra. I thought they were shoo-ins. Or Elma. I thought we were going to get a secondary Xenoblade character. Xenoblade became so, or Cross even, like your Avatar character from X. A secondary character for Shulk, because Xenoblade, back then it was just Operation Rainfall, just being localized. It was in Europe and Japan. It was lucky to get into, and because, Sakurai loves the Xenoblade games, Shulk got in. But now that the series got bigger, why not put a character, from it, like a secondary character to join Shulk? That was almost a shoe, and most Smash fans were speculating, or were always speculating that Rex or Elma or someone was going to join him. Okay, we were going to get a new generation Pokemon. That happened. We got Incineroar. A lot of people thought the Decidueye, but we were going to get a Generation 7 Pokemon. That was heavily speculated. A lot of people were speculating we were going to get at least one new Fire Emblem character. A lot of people speculated it was going to be Alm or Celica. It was going to be a Shadows of Valentia character. Not many people expected we'd get an Echo, Chrom as an Echo. And quite frankly, that is a slight disappointment for me. I like Awakening, but we had Lucina and Robin. Why couldn't we get Celica or Alm in there instead? Or wait for DLC and do Edoguard or Byleth or something? Stuff like that. But yeah. Crap. What did I do? Oh, no, I did. I'm fine. I thought I accidentally screwed. I'm looking at my list here. But yeah, like, my thought process, like, going in was, like, I was looking at a mindset, because when it comes from me, and I don't know how most of you speculate out there, when it comes to me speculating on Smash Bros., and I've had the same mindset, which was before Smash Bros., I started speculating on Smash Bros. 4. Since I heard, if you guys remember the YouTuber ECC Wee, he went by Red Knight later on. I don't even think he's on YouTube anymore, back during the days of the MDev Nation and whatnot. He mentioned about like each Smash Bros. Game is mostly kind of based on the last generation system before that and what they can get up to for it. And I started looking at Smash Bros. At the time, Smash Bros. 64, Melee, and Brawl when Smash Bros. 4 was coming out. I'm like, you know what? He basically makes some sense. Smash Bros. 64 was very heavily Super Nintendo based with some Game Boy and N64. Melee was super heavily N64, Game Boy Color with some Game Boy Advance because of Roy. Smash Brothers Brawl was super heavily GameCube and Game Boy Advance based with a little bit of DS because of Lucario and him being in the movies and whatnot at the time too in the anime. And then Smash Bros. 4, you look at that and it's super heavily Wii based, DS based with some 3DS, a little bit more 3DS because of like Fire Emblem Awakening, Generation 6 Pokemon, and stuff like that. And then Smash Bros. Ultimate was very heavily Wii. It looked like nowadays when I was went into speculating for Smash Bros. 4, Smash Bros. Ultimate, I was kind of going for the same mindset, which is what I did for the mindset back in Smash Bros. 4 speculation. I was thinking, okay, I was looking at Wii games, I was looking at DS games, I was looking at 3DS games. I'm like, what characters, what series, Nintendo or otherwise, were super heavily popular and pushed and would make sense marketability, because Smash is still very marketing-wise. They put characters in there usually because of marketability and stuff like that, and popularity, and recency, and history, and stuff like that. So I'm like, that's what I did for my speculation. And I got quite a few of the newcomers kind of predicted. I predicted we'd probably get Lil Mac because of the series coming back in 2009. I predicted because of Kid Icarus Uprising, we'd probably get Palutena, maybe Dark Pit or someone else alongside that. I predicted the Fire Emblem Awakening was the obvious next choice for Fire Emblem, so on and so forth. I used that speculation by what he mentioned when I was super heavily speculating Smash Brothers 4. Now, I was obviously wrong on some things. I was right on other things. A lot of people called me Nostradamus or whatever, like me predicting and speculating and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool, because I predicted like Bayonetta. I was talking about Bayonetta. I was talking about Corrin, characters like that at the time, and they kind of were included in the game. And people are like, "Oh, you're Nostradamus. You got the mindset. You could see into the future or something like that." I'm like, okay, cool. Because I got a lot of characters right, but I also got a lot of characters wrong. There was a lot of characters I predicted back in Smash Bros. 4, like Girahim and whatnot, that never got into that game either. But then I got a lot of characters right, and then I took that same mindset I did back all those years later into Smash Bros. 4, and went into looking at Wii U games, looking at 3DS games, looking at Switch games, and being like, okay, what Nintendo and third-party games are super popular, super heavily pushed, that they make sense to either be in the game or that they could potentially get games in the future. I was right on some, and I was wrong on others. Tomato, tomato, and that's basically what happened. But when it comes to the pros and cons of this series, I had a lot of fun talking about it because I like talking about Smash Bros. Speculation, but one of the downfalls of it was me doing so many characters. I don't know if you could tell in my videos, but I did start like making them very basic, just sitting on the couch and talking. Like early on, I mostly I was standing up in the living room, I'm talking, I'm coming in with like a robe or a blanket on me and doing all this stuff. And I did some of that later on too, but I kind of pushed it down a little bit because to be honest, I was starting to get a little tired of the series as it went on. After I made that 100 mark, like that last 50 was a really hard push because I wanted to do other YouTube videos. I was like around the time frame at the end of last year into this year, Christmas, holiday season, at work, I was busy and I was trying to jump between that, playing the game, finding free time, doing other YouTube videos, other stuff in my life, and it's just like I started kind of getting a little tired of it. Not that I didn't want to do it, but it just kind of got tiring after a while. So I'm like, okay, I'm guaranteed 150 will be the last one, which I don't regret going to the 150. It's just that it started getting a little tired after a while because I had to do a lot of research. I had to figure out, okay, what kind of moveset IDs could these characters do? Why do they make sense? Percentage chances. I had to do a bunch of research for 50 more characters, 150. It kind of got tiresome after a while. But that tiresomeness didn't take away the fact that I did enjoy the entire road from April 12th of last year till when I finished it last month this year. And all those 150 characters I did enjoy talking about. And it was a series I wanted to talk about because I want to talk about various characters. The pro of it was I talked about a lot of characters that I think kind of didn't get talked about a lot. There's a lot of characters in my series that you don't see a lot of Smash Bros. Fans when they're talking about speculating for Smash Bros. You don't really see them talking about a lot of the characters I mentioned. You also see me talking about a lot of characters they do mention. I think you need to balance it out between what characters are popular and what characters aren't, and what characters are heavily expected to get in Smash Bros. And ones heavily aren't, and giving certain characters a chance, because sometimes Sakurai has surprised us and gave us a character that we did not expect to ever get in Smash Bros. As much as usually the chances of, we expected Lil Mac, we expected Corrin, we expected Robin, we expected Ridley, we expected Palutena, we expected Rosalina, we expected blah 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 whoever, whatever. But he has given us surprises and characters we didn't fully expect, even if they do make sense and they should have been in a long time ago, like Simon effing Belmont and Mega Man. whatnot. So yeah, it's basically that. Like the pros were, I just enjoyed talking about those characters. I wanted to give the spotlight to some of these characters. I love talking about Smash speculation. I like talking about various character ideas. A lot of characters I talked about are characters I would love to still see in the game. Some of them more than others, obviously. Some of my favorites, I want to see Travis Session. I would love to see Shantae. I would love to see Edelgard. I'd love to see Sora or Erdrick or Lloyd Irving or freaking Sub-Zero Scorpion or someone from Tekken like Kazuya or Jin. Someone else from Fire Emblem like Hal. I never even played her season or story element in Fire Emblem Heroes, but she looks so freaking awesome. Some of these characters I just would love to see. So yeah, that's basically it. Like my retrospective is, I look back on this and I am happy I did it, and I appreciate everyone that's commented. I appreciate everyone that took their time to comment, talk about the stuff, and especially the people that did multiple videos and gave their insights on these characters and whatnot, and still are, because I'm still getting comments on these videos to this day. Thank you for doing that, and keep talking about those 150 characters. But like I love talking with the fans. I love talking with various YouTubers about this stuff, because we went back and forth sometimes in comments on some of those people. That's the reason why I told you guys to comment and give your thoughts. We could discuss and have fun and discuss it, because that's one of the major popular things in Smash Bros. Discussion is talking to other people. And it's like, yeah, that's really like one of my main things was talking to you guys. That's what I did it for. I did it not only for me to speculate and talk about these characters, but I did it for you guys to actually kind of think it over sometimes and see, like, okay, maybe I wasn't expecting that character to make sense, but now that you mention it, maybe they do make sense. And that was just my main process. I want to talk about characters, talk to you, speculate with the fans, speculate with other gamers and YouTubers, Smash fans. And I love talking about those characters. But like I said, one of the cons was it did get a little tiresome after a while, but that's to be expected after doing 150 videos, pretty much about the same thing, just about different characters and whatnot. But I enjoyed it. It kind of kept me going that way too. But I am glad it's over, and I'm definitely going to take some time before the Smash 6 comes out and I do something like this again, which I will. But seriously though, behind the scenes, I just was looking at characters. Oh, geez, the battery's almost dead. But yeah, I'm almost done anyways. Like I said, looking at characters, like coming up with characters. Like when I first started listening, okay, I have this many characters. I talked about like them before. I think like my wish list and stuff like that before. But then I'm like, okay, what other characters make sense? And I looked at all these games. I'm like, okay, that character. And I got to the point where there's some characters I never got to talking about because I put so many on my list. There's still some I had to take off. And then there were some that were deconfirmed, like I was going to talk about Pauline, I was going to talk about Eevee, I was going to talk about Crystal, Assist Trophy, Pokeball, it's like stage hazard type thing. It just happens like that. But yeah, my retrospective on these characters, on this long-running series is, it may have been a hard fought road, and I may have been annoyed at sometimes, and I may have delayed sometimes because I didn't really feel like doing stuff, and I got a little like what's the word, unmotivated or whatever. There's little spans in between some of them, but I pushed forward because of the fans, because of people talking about YouTube videos, about talking about characters, about my love for Smash Brothers, and I went through 150 characters all over a year. And I enjoyed it. It was worth the whole like long road travel to it. Like that's the whole thing. It's like I enjoyed every step of it, even if at some points I stalled, stopped, and was unmotivated to continue. Sometimes because I'm like, oh my god, I'm so lazy, I don't want to do it. Stuff like that. But behind the scenes, I loved it. I talked about the characters. I talked about you. It was like doing more research. That's what first, and learning more about these characters. There were some things about some of these characters I did not know until I did more research on. Because for some of their games, I either played only so little or I didn't play at all. But I wanted to still talk about them. And it's like, yeah, that's about it. So yeah, my retrospective on the Smash Newcomer series, 150 characters. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys liked hearing about the trials and tribulations I had, even though I didn't go into super full detail on it as much as I kind of hoped. But I think I gave enough insight on for you guys to kind of see from my mindset, from my point of view when I was doing this thing. And I did enjoy it. And that's it. Hope you guys liked the video. Please subscribe if you want to. If you love it, write in the comment section what you guys thought about this whole 150 long character things. What were some of my characters I talked about that were some of your favorites? That's some of the characters you want to see in Smash Bros. Whether it's DLC now in this Fire Pass for Smash Ultimate or future Smash Bros. Games. And then put in the comment section what characters I missed. Who did I not talk about? Because when I do my next video, I talk about like random last-minute character ideas, just throwing out little ideas without even remotely any research. Maybe I'll talk about some of them. That's it. See you all later in the next video.